What's up guys, my name is Christian Lindfors. I'm the owner of Lindfors Farms. I've got a farm down in San Diego, California, and right now we're shooting in Los Angeles. So tonight we're gonna just be showing you like a really simple kale salad. It's gonna be super good, everybody's gonna love it. And there's just a couple little things that you might not know that will help you make it extra delicious for everybody. So it's really important to me to show people exactly how their food's being grown and why we're growing it the way we're growing it, and then preparing it in the kitchen for you to see. I don't think enough people are eating vegetables and salads and stuff like that, and I used to not like any of that stuff until I started farming, but what I learned was when you work in the restaurant industry, you figure out how to make stuff super delicious and good, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. So here's a bag of kale from the farm. This is Black Magic or Lacinato kale. There's a bunch of different names for it, but it's basically this big kale that you see all the time bunched in the supermarket. This has been one of the most profitable things that we've grown on the farm, and there's a million ways to use it. So anytime you're getting like farm fresh stuff or from the farmer's market, or I guess the supermarket too, we're just gonna go ahead and like prep this stuff. So we're gonna just wash it, cut it down. I'm just gonna grab, however much kale I think is good. I think that's enough. You don't have to, this isn't science. Got it right there for you, and we're just gonna rinse this. There's always a little bit of residue on there. There's some aphids and stuff. Nature's got bugs, so we're not afraid of that. Okay, there we go. We've got our washed kale there. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a cutting board and I'm just gonna chop this kale into bite-sized pieces. Whatever I'm thinking that I'm gonna want to take a bite of. And this is kind of up to you. Some people, they strip the kale so that this stem right here isn't included, and that's a totally valid way to go. Me personally, I like a little bit of crunch to my salad, so I like to leave it in. So you're gonna grab yourself a big knife, clump it all into one group, and this is about the size that I like, just a couple inches, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches per slice. We're gonna make our dressing. The thing about salad dressing is there's really not hard and fast rule to like how much. I don't really like to think about cooking like so scientifically. When you're in the restaurant, you can have all these like measurements with grams and cups and whatever you want to do, but when I'm at home, I just try to do things by taste, and I'm always just trying to make something that people love, and I'm trying to just put love into it. So I'm kind of just always tasting it, and this, you're at home, so you don't have to worry about health code standards and whatever, but as I'm working, I'm just kind of tasting my food and seeing, making sure, and that's like really what real cooks do, is you're constantly figuring out what's the balance of flavor. Okay, so now I've got the kale in here. I've just got some olive oil. You can go as fancy as you want, but basically you just need olive oil. And I'm just gonna put some in there. I'm just trying to coat it. I'm not trying to drown it. I don't want there to be a huge pool in the bottom or anything like that, but I just wanna make sure that it coats all the kale pretty nicely. That looks like enough. I just don't want a big pool in the bottom, basically. So there's that. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some rice vinegar. If you've got apple cider vinegar, that works too. I just personally like rice vinegar, and I use it a lot in my kitchen. So this is something that you might wanna incorporate, but any type of vinegar will work. You could even use kombucha if you really want to. Anything that's just gonna give it a little bit of like an acidy pop. And again, it's not an exact science. We're really going by taste here. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some salt. It's really to taste. I'm just gonna give this all a mix. Here's some black pepper. Throw that in there as well. And then I'm gonna chop up a little bit of garlic. I'm not gonna chop up the garlic super fine. I'm gonna leave it sliced. I really like chunks of garlic in my salad. That's one of my favorite things. You could use the knife to crush the skin off the garlic. Makes it a lot easier to peel. There's 3 cloves, and for that little handful that I've got, I think that'll probably be good. Cut off the butts and I replant them in the farm, pop them in the soil, a couple inches down, and they'll give me new garlic the next year. Then the next thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna slice this really quick, give them a little chop, and then I might go over and just chop them a little more. But okay, I've got my garlic. That's what it looks like. I like big old chunks of garlic in my salad, so I'm just gonna kind of incorporate it. That's what it's looking like. And then the next most important thing is you're gonna wanna massage the kale. The kale is gonna be really hard to eat right now. It's like really tough still, so we're just gonna kind of go through here and we're really gonna like massage it really good. I mean, it's like, you really can't, you almost can't overdo this step. Some people even massage it twice. So you'll know that the kale's really massaged when it starts to turn a much darker color. It's good. Just kind of going by taste and feel. I really like lemon, so I'm gonna add a little lemon to it. Here's some lemons I harvested from the farm today. It's a Meyer lemon, sweet lemon. This is still just kind of making our sauce. Mix it around a little more. And then at this point, your salad's really ready to plate. We don't have tomatoes or anything like that, so we're gonna use some persimmon. We're gonna put that in. That's gonna be kind of our sweet element. And before I do that, I'm just gonna give it another little taste. Cool, that's good. Really garlicky, really good, love it. Here's our bowl. Just gonna take our salad, drop it in there. And if you've got chef friends, what you've noticed is presentation is really important. What we want to do is we want to make this salad nice and tall in our bowl. We want it to be stacked up. You don't want it to be flat. You want it to look like it's got some shape to it. And that's kind of a trick we use in the restaurant industry. Whenever we're plating stuff, we want it to be tall. We want it to really stand out in the bowl. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some other elements that are going to make it sweet. It's going to make it pop. It's just going to give it some texture. So I've got some pomegranate. This is also from the farm. Put a little bit on top. That's going to give us some color. It's going to give us a little bit of, these pomegranates are a little bit sour still, which is okay with me. It's going to add to that acid, and they're a little bit sweet. So we're going to add a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of sour, a little bit of color, a little bit of texture, a little crunch. And all of those elements are really important in making a salad that people are going to talk about for a couple weeks after your event or your dinner, or just, you know, if you want to just impress your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. So yeah, next we're going to take the persimmon and we're just going to add a couple slices of this, just chop that off. And then we're just going to add a couple thin slices. And these are really going to give us some sweetness. With this particular salad, it's really going to help us out. Again, we're trying to make it tall. We want to make it tall. We want to really make it, we want to give it a nice look. And I know that sounds kind of like silly, like why do you care about that? But I think when you're cooking food for people, the presentation is really important. I think it really affects how you feel when you eat it. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to add some just some seeds. It's going to give us some texture and a little bit of cheese, and that's going to just like give us some fat to kind of finish off that salad. Use some hemp seeds. I want it to look coated. Again, it's important how it's looking. And then next I'm going to add just a little bit of cheese, and then we're going to be done. And it doesn't really matter what kind of cheese you use. You can use vegan cheese, you know, but basically what you want to do is we're just adding like some fat. I'm going to just grate a little bit of this on top. It's going to just balance out some of that acid. I'm pretty generous with the cheese. I like cheese. This is just a great salad for wintertime. We've got persimmons, we've got pomegranates, which are kind of in the fall, and we've got a few on the tree still. We've got the kale. We've got all the different elements that are kind of sum up wintertime, early spring, late fall. And this is like a salad that I'm eating all the time. Yeah, super easy to make, and this is kind of like our finish from the growing all the way to your plate. Good. The persimmon adds so much sweetness, and the cheese is nice and fat. Really nice and balanced. And that's what you're always going for. You're really just trying to balance the flavors with anything you're cooking. There's really no like secret recipe to cooking. You're just understanding the elements that make a good dish. So if you like this, go ahead and click subscribe, give us a like, and I'm going to be making a lot more videos like this coming up. So check it out, share it to your friends, and you know, I'm just trying to show you guys what to do with stuff from your garden, stuff from the farmer's market, stuff from the supermarket, just get you inspired in the kitchen and making really good food that you enjoy and that your family and friends are going to love too.